Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. Gonna find you.
Who wants to play a game?
Hey, what's good, guys? But first, what's up, Jeremy?
What's up, Nam?
And welcome you guys to When Jeremy Met Nam, discuss a movie or have a movie discussion or whatever 10 titles that we decide to do.
There's
But welcome to our Halloween special, Spooktacular. And guess what? It's my time. Jeremy gets the Christmas show, and I chose the movie Ready or Not. Ready or Not is a 2019 American black comedy horror film directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett. It stars Samara Weaving, Adam Brody, Mark O'Brien, Henry Kazern, and Andy McDowell. It follows Grace, a newlywed bride whose night takes a sinister turn when her eccentric in-laws force her to take part of a terrifying game in order for her to be officially a part of the family. This movie is rated R and has a runtime of 1 hour and 35 minutes. Jeremy and I selected a handful of scenes that we're actually going to talk about. So, Jeremy, why don't you tell us what was the first scene that you ended up choosing?
The first scene I had picked is what I like to call The Gathering.
In the gathering scene, everyone convenes into a room as Tony Le Domas explains that only family is allowed into this particular room. He explains that family is big on tradition and thus begins the story about the history of the Domas Dominion. They pass around a box that was given to his great-grandfather Domas by the mysterious Mr. LaBelle. He explains that there was a proposition made by Mr. LaBelle to the great-grandfather Domas that if he could figure out the great mysteries of the box, that Mr. LaBelle will finance whatever endeavor his great-grandfather wanted to do. Tony then explains that with every new addition to the family, a blank card is put into the mystery box and that Mr. LaBelle will reveal the game that they must play. At that moment, Charity and Finch let Grace know what games they had to play to get into the family.
I got chess.
I got Old Maid. Seriously, what the fuck is Old Maid?
Grace is given a card from the mysterious box as Aunt Helen impatiently asked,
"What does it say, girl?"
And Grace, chuckling, then revealed the game that they had to play.
It says hide and seek. Are we really gonna play that?
So, why did you choose the scene?
So for people that probably know or don't know, when it comes to movies, I like setup, and I like to feel immersed into the story. And I like this scene because it kind of set the mood. Just, everybody coming together and just learning where the story of this movie was gonna go. So
I completely agree with you. I think this actually gave you the start. It kind of gave you the whole feel what's going to happen in this movie. And I will say though, whenever I was watching this scene and I was listening to them talk about like the different games that they possibly could be chosen.
What game?
I don't know. You draw a card. Could be backgammon, croquet, checkers for all I know.
And how like Old Maid was a choice. And obviously if you went into watching this movie, you saw the trailer beforehand and you know it's going to be hide and seek. But it was interesting. I found it really interesting how they actually came up with the game where they put a magic card into a blank card into a little card holder thing, and it comes out and tells you what kind of game. But I will say, Jeremy, this scene and how it played off definitely brought up a lot of questions for me. I don't know if it did the same thing to you.
Not quite yet at the time. I was really just excited to see what was going to happen due to also all the character setup leading up to that, and so much of giving the movie was almost trying to tell you, like, are you sure you want to continue where this is going to go? Do you really want to see what happened next kind of mentality? Because I always get connected with the character that's in the same mindset as the audience. We're learning as the same as Grace is learning how what they're doing tonight is going to work out. That is hide and seek. So, but to answer your question, no.
No, you didn't have any questions? I totally had questions. So I was in there thinking to myself, like, all right, so they're going to talk about hide and seek because that was the game. But even before then, there were the other family members, and they were talking about the different games that they had to choose, or that they ended up choosing to play in order for them to be part of the family. And one of them was Old May.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, so is hide and seek the only game that has an implication where someone has to die? Like, it just feels that way because of everything that they said beforehand, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, that's interesting, because I was wondering if it was just hide and seek that they had to play and everything. And I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. If hide and seek was the only game that had death implications, then I can see why they can't add more to the family. But hide and seek, if hide and seek wasn't, it's like, how do you add more to the family if you either have to win and everyone dies, or if you lose and only the husband or the newly husband or the newly bride dies? Like, that part was interesting to me.
I guess that didn't come to my mindset quite yet, because I was just too immersed into figuring out what were the rules that were going to happen in this particular game and how that was going to go. Sometimes, like, it's cool. I give you credit for asking that kind of question, but I guess, like, once this game starts, it almost feels like you almost forget about what did the other people had to do to be accepted in the family.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, they had to do like weird things to get into the family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you not sit there and question that though? Like, you would be like, all right, so I have to play a game. Like, would you not feel like there was more suspicion for you if you were in that position?
No, yeah, the suspicion of the point of, like, why are we playing this game? Not so much of, like, okay, so what? Because it's hide and seek.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's just gonna be just a normal game, like Omei. Like, Omei's not harmful that we know of, or the other board games that we think are not heard of. She thought it was like, okay, this is a silly game, whatever. So that's the mindset. My mindset would be like, why are we playing a childish game? More than like, why am I being hunted? So, like, I don't know. I guess, like, in the moment I wouldn't be thinking about that until it happened, and like, then maybe that all come to my head of like, wait, how did Omega played? Oh, how did they play Scrabble? How did they play Taboo?
Obviously, once if you found out that they were hunting you and they were trying to kill you, you wouldn't be like, so how did they survive Omega? What was that all about?
Yeah, that's maybe where it started coming to me, but not in the moment of playing that.
It was interesting. Mm-hmm. It is interesting. You said Grace was the person that kind of like brought you where the audience. Do you feel like ultimately she was really the one that really kind of was the audience?
I would say yes, because we were still learning what she was kind of learning. Yes, we know what was going to happen. We know how the setup was going to be, but we didn't know how she was going to do. And I felt like that in that FOMO, like, what would I do in that moment? That's why, like, in the beginning, it felt like that they were throwing all these hints to you because they were going to come around in full circle later of some of the things that we were going to see her maybe take a chance on, or decisions were based on some of the things she saw at the beginning. So yes, because the question for me is, what would I do? Would I try to leave the house first? Would I, what would you do in that situation? So that's why I think I connected with Grace, because I'm like, I understand, especially for a house that, for a family that feels like they already don't feel like they accept you automatically. So, like, what the hell are they going to do to you? So, yeah.
I was going to say, man, who in that family would you actually, like, lean towards? Like, if you were Grace, like, who in that family would you actually be safe around, I guess, besides Alex?
to tell you the truth, I thought it would be the maids. Like,
you thought so? Okay.
Yeah, none of the family members, but people that work under them. You know, I thought they would be the one, except for the butler.
I mean, yeah, the butler.
But
Daniel was. I mean, he was cool with you. Of course, he can.
He was.
He was cool.
He was until, but he did give you warnings, and then he's with the other people. So I'm talking about like in the moment, right when it first began.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like if you're in the moment,
I wouldn't trust him because you don't know yet until further. That's why you were so scared of everybody. He was probably look, he was scary, but he was the least being you were scared of, right? Everybody else was just nuts. I mean, you had his girlfriend, you had a girlfriend that wants to be accepted.
His wife,
your wife that want to be accepted. You had a coke up girl. You had a guy that he didn't want to be there in the first place. Because it felt like a waste of his time. And then you have the wife that just kind of just accepts for what it is, and then you have the sister of the father that was just nuts. So
the aunt who's very off-putting.
Yeah, it's the worst game of Clue you can think of, right? So I don't trust anybody. So yes, I personally think I think Grace did connect with the audience because the same way she felt about these people, I felt like the audience felt the same way with these people. Like, I wouldn't trust you. I wouldn't trust you. I could trust you. So what about you?
I think Grace initially, but I think eventually it ended up being the brother-in-law. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. But I think eventually it does become the brother-in-law, and not so much Daniel, but the sisters, the coke out sister's husband, because I think he eventually did say some stuff that was more like, yeah, I would say the same thing.
Tony, what the hell is this? How old is this thing?
So with this scene in particular, I'm trying to remember. Did they actually go into whether or not, like, if they did? Let's just say with this scene, a little bit right after the scene, they went into the whole like, if they don't kill her, then the whole family dies.
I'm sorry. Let me say one more thing before you go. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I also really like about the setup is the fact that we got to see what we're expecting from the house. I feel like the house is a character too. Yeah. So I'll leave it at that. And I think The Gathering really helped out of getting a tour of the house on the way there and knowing what was going on. So that's what I also wanted to add to. Go on.
That's fair. So what I was saying, like that scene that you ended up choosing, did that eventually kind of like make you think, or whether or not you think that it's a possibility that the whole family could die at the end of the movie, like just magically explode because of the way the hide and seek game was actually chosen? Because it was a blank card. It wasn't like a deck of cards. Mm-hmm. It was a blank card that went into a box, and the box told you what game you wanted to play, what game you needed to play. Like, I thought that was unique. Like, when I first saw that, and then eventually I heard the conversation about, if we don't kill her, then the family's going to all die. And I'm just like, how's the family going to all die? That sounds ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But then again, it's also ridiculous that you can put a blank card into a box and all of a sudden it comes out, here's the game. Mm. Like, did that play into any of your thoughts on whether or not, like, this could be true?
Half and half. I believe that half of the people that didn't believe it were not going to die, and I think the people that really believe it were going to die.
Mm. Yeah. So, like I said, hindsight being 2020, did you? It's like, it's interesting that they chose hide and seek. What do you think would be the death? How they could do the rules for, like, I don't know, like say Scrabble, something that you and I both play. Like, do you think the loser just dies?
I think so. Like, the person with the least points. Yeah, or it has to be the person with the least points have to die because, like, only one person can win. And all these games have one thing in common. One person has to win, the other people have to lose. So, but the funny part is it's always 1v all. So the goal is everybody beat that one person. So as long as any of the members win at Scrabble and you didn't win, then they accomplish it, I guess. And so that's what I got the gist of it. So
You know what was interesting is the concept of the idea of hide and seek, right? I think that was the biggest thing for me. It's like I sat there and I started wondering, it's like, how do you really add on to the family if the bride wins, the whole family dies, as ridiculous as that sounds.
mm-hmm.
But if the family wins, then the bride dies, and you really don't really add anything more to the family. Do you? I guess if you were Alex, do you just try again and try to date again?
Right.
Like,
But we don't know the history. We don't know how long. We don't know how long Alex has been out of the game or been around.
Well, that's the thing, though. He had to be there for every wedding. He had to be there for every wedding because
it seems like it. Yeah.
if you weren't, then you died.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't play the game, then you just died. Apparently, I mean,
Yeah.
that was kind of like the implications that Alex put forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? But I do agree. I think.
But let me. I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Do being married lock you into the rules?
Well, it's tradition. It's a family tradition, so they
Right.
have to. They all have to do it.
Right. But you have to be married, though, right? You can't just bring a girl over and play the game, right? They have to be married.
No.
first.
You have to get married.
Yeah. So how does that work? Is there a ring that locks the rules on? Is it like, I don't know how the rules work, how that goes in? Because, like, what if they got married?
In Vegas,
Yeah. And
they probably died. It's probably what happened.
because you would think being locked in that you're already part of the family, so you would think that no matter what you would die too, right? No matter what the situation is. If it's true that they say if she wins and I win, like, well, I feel like if I die, you die too. I don't know.
Oh, you mean as far as like the winner of hide and seek? If she won, or like if she won, then she should die anyways because she's part of the family.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I guess that's a pretty good question. But I guess if you win, you have this protection on you. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I wonder, like,
That's a good question. I really don't know.
like if he just brings a girl home and not married, like, okay, I guess.
Well, I think if she's not married to them, then it doesn't matter. Then nothing happens. Like there's no.
Okay. Hey, I don't want to. I'm going to push the envelope here. But what if they have a kid and they're not married?
Yeah, it's blasphemy. The kid never made it, man. It was just a stillborn.
That'd be a funny thing. That'd be funny if they said, like, we tried to have a kid but it didn't work out.
When we do the what ifs, right? It's like, what if he did things? I mean, I don't know. That's the thing, though. Would you bring? All right, let's just say your brother or sister of the family, right? Instead of the actual family or actually getting married or being married, you have to show up to this family game because you're the brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're the brother, you're the sister. Would you bring your girlfriend there, or would you tell your girlfriend, it's like, you know what, I need you to sit this one out?
No, I wouldn't bring her because if she doesn't have to be part of it, then I wouldn't bring her.
And that's the thing, though. Like, let's just say the bride wins and everyone dies, right? Then, like, literally, your girlfriend's just like, my boyfriend died. I have no idea how.
Right.
But he just died. Like, dude, that's so weird. So many things that they could have played with this. So many things. Mm-hmm. Hey, guys. Thank you for checking out the first scene of our Halloween Spooktacular episode of When Jeremy Met Nam, Have a Movie Discussion. As always, we appreciate any type of feedback that you guys have because we want to be better at what we do, and we always want to make content that you enjoy. If you do enjoy our content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Hope to see you when we talk about scene 2 of our Halloween Spooktacular, but until then, guys, that's a wrap.